This is The Villains of Man. I'm JVD, bringing you a comic book review over DC Universe Rebirth. Now, before reading this book, it says on the opening page, read Justice League number 50 and Superman number 52. Now, Justice League number 50 is the end of Darkseid War. We've done a review over that. Spoiler alert, Darkseid does die, but he's reborn as an infant in the end of the book. As for Superman number 52, if you haven't heard, Superman dies. No big surprise there. It's happened once. We all know he'll return. Now, before I move on, here's a quick summary of the plot. Wally West has escaped outside the time of the DCU 52 universe when Darkseid's death fractured reality. Trying to anchor himself to the Earth to escape the Speed Force, the first person he goes to is Batman. As he reaches out to Bruce, Bruce has no clue who he is. Before the connection is lost, though, he warns him his letter from Thomas Wayne, his father, the Batman of Flashpoint, is what started the whole change. As he moves through the Speed Force, he begins to speak of someone watching from outside time. When Barry created the Flashpoint, he had unraveled history. As he was putting it back together, this being attacked and stole 10 years from the DCU, changing the lives of everyone. Wally continues to try to make connection with various people, such as Nightwing and Cyborg. Finally, he comes across Barry out in the Flash, just as the Speed Force is about to consume him. Before it does, Alan remembers him and anchors him to the world. He recalls the events of what has happened and tells Flash there's going to be a war soon. Next, we see Batman observing his father's letter when he notices something shine deep within the crevices of the Batcave. There he finds a famous pen of a comedian. So, as we've all guessed it, it seems as it's true. Dr. Manhattan made good on his promise at the end of Watchmen and tried to create life, or better yet, alter an entire universe. As Wally was moving through the Speed Force, he witnessed certain events happening in the world. It seems quite a few of them would tie to the Watchmen. One of them would be Pandora. She seems to be running from someone not seen. When she turns to face him, she delivers a speech about how the heroes will defeat whoever is chasing her. Then, in classic Rorschach fashion, she explodes. This leads me to believe that not only did Dr. Manhattan kill Pandora, he also killed Metron and Alman at the end of Darkseid War. The second one seems to take place after the death of Superman. This new Superman and his wife Lois, who's with a child, are realizing that the same events in their parallel Earth are taking place on this one. That itself is very interesting because you're finding out that now there is another Superman that seems like he's been on this Earth for quite a long time. I'm sure eventually that'll probably play out in all the Superman Rebirth stuff. But what's more interesting, he meets someone named Dr. Oz. He doesn't seem to know who this man is, but the man tells him he's neither friend or foe, but the long game will tell in due time. He also tells him that you and your family are not who you think you are, and neither was the fallen Superman. Once again, another plot point for all the Superman stuff coming up in Rebirth. The next is the Atom. To quote what he says, he's found a disruption deep within the temporal nanostructure of the timeline. He's also found something he calls a microverse. Now, he's leaving this in a message for his student Ryan, and also one of his belts to shrink him down, because he may need Ryan to save him in the entire universe. But before his message is cut off, he warns him that someone was waiting for him, and to do not, and he never gets to finish it. Almost as a warning not to talk to whoever he meets. I assume this also is probably Dr. Manhattan trying to stop various people within the world of knowing of his existence. There's one small panel with a male and female in the shadows looking at the bat signal, saying that it's not their time. A lot of people seem to believe this may be Night Owl and Silk Spectre, which if we're going with the route of the Watchmen, I could believe that. So if you add it up, obviously Dr. Manhattan is behind a lot of this. If this couple is Night Owl and Silk Spectre, then obviously Dr. Oz should be Ozymandias. So the big question is why? Why are they here? Why would Dr. Manhattan change the universe? At the end of Watchmen, we know Dr. Manhattan says he may go and try to create life. But let's go back a little bit further. Ozymandias has created his bioengineered alien squid and dropped it in New York, killing half its population. The other members of the Watchmen start to catch on and go to his base in Antarctica. Now, as they're confronting him, Silk Spectre tries to shoot him and he catches the bullet and then attacks her. Night Owl threatens him. This is his quote to Night Owl. "My new world order demands less obvious heroism, making your schoolboy heroics redundant." Then Manhattan goes to confront him. This is when Ozymandias turns on the television, believing he's brought world peace by having all the countries unite against this alien threat. Manhattan even agrees that no one must tell of this, or otherwise the nations will once again look to destroy one another and in their war destroy the planet. At the end of Watchmen, it's assumed that the world is at peace, and Ozymandias' dream of utopia has been fulfilled. Maybe Manhattan has decided to move what was left of the Watchmen to the DCU and hopes to bring this world to peace as well. If these characters are who everybody believes they are in their DC Rebirth, maybe they're there to infiltrate the heroes to see what resistance they and Manhattan could face. Or maybe he just moved Dan and Lori there to see if they could live a happy life as crime fighters, since there's no need for violence in this world. It's the only life they've ever known, so why would they want to try anything else? Ozymandias could be mad at being removed from this utopia he's orchestrated and seeks revenge on John. This would be a perfect reason to find a Superman, DC's biggest and most powerful hero, to have an ally against such a powerful threat. Now the biggest question is, where's Rorschach and where's the comedian? Well, if you think about it, by the end of Watchmen, both of them were dead. Both of them knew of Ozymandias' plots, and both had plans to exploit it to the world. So why would Manhattan seek to bring two psychotic characters to an Earth where he's trying to bring peace? Why bring two characters who are the worst of your teammates? And more yet, why bring these two to a world that has criminals more psychotic than themselves? It's more like adding fuel to the fire. Now these are just my own theories. Eventually time will tell if these are the Watchmen, and then if any of this is even true. It's obviously Manhattan is behind the altering events of Flashpoint. And it's probably going to be a while before he makes another move, but this one shot has left us with something interesting to look forward to in the world of DC Comics. It's got my attention. It's probably caught my attention more than anything else has in the 52, and hopefully this will be extremely promising. This wraps up my review of DC Universe Rebirth. This is the Villains of Man. I'm JVD. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, share this video, and keep reading, guys.